We have really thousands of medicinal plants. China, India, Egypt, ancient Egypt, and all Europe, North America, practically every country has many phytotherapists, and they are using these hundreds, thousands of medicinal plants to treat a lot of diseases. And by the way, if you look into pharmacies, now modern pharmacies, and you see also there hundreds of drugs, medicinal drugs, at least 50% of them originate from the medicinal plants. Unfortunately, they went to the chemical synthesis, which is not very good because it has a lot of disadvantages. One example here about use, this is this plant, Hypericum perforatum, St. John's wort. This is very good against depression. This lavender is very, very good against insomnia. This one is sedative too. It's calming down the sleep. This one is here, Castanea sativa. It's also a very good plant. It creates bitter honey, which is very good for the blood flow, and so on and so on. Sunflower is good for the sexual problems. Unfortunately, the human beings on our planet are doing these stupid things. We are destroying our forests. We destroy Amazon forest. We destroy everywhere. We need to enlarge a city, and instead of going vertically, we cut the trees. And we may arrive pretty soon in this situation. And we destroy also our planet with industrial agriculture, which is very, very bad, because when you do monocultures on big, big surfaces, the microbes, viruses, and fungus which can attack that plant will spread very quickly. So the agriculturists are forced to use insecticides or to use herbicides and so on, pesticides. And this is very toxic for the environment and also for our human beings. It can cause problems. We have a lot of pollution in our world. You see also pollution. Beate, can you check who is making noise?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you. Or maybe I stop a bit here the screen and I mute all. I'll mute all the participants, and then Beate, I believe you can unmute yourself later on. Okay, so let's come back to the share screen. Yes. Okay, good. So you see that the trees can regenerate themselves if they have good conditions. They can regenerate if the human beings are not coming too much. Even if we'll leave the earth like 50, 100 years, the plants will destroy this asphalt, these human-made chemical things. Step by step, the plants have a huge capability to regenerate, to adapt to all kinds of environments. The idea is not to have excesses like in the cities. The human beings are using the medicinal plants for thousands of years, including like this kind of use. You see this cabbage leaf. It's good against the sunlight, against the heat. When somebody has a migraine, they can use this funny way of administration. And now a few words about industrial agriculture and permaculture. Industrial agriculture, it has a lot of poison. You see this guy, it's covered, his face, his nose. He knows that this one is giving cancer. It's very toxic for the liver, but still he's spraying the plants with these toxic substances. And then the people which are not knowing, they are buying these plants, the seeds, the wheat, the whatever it is here, rape and so on, and they are getting the toxins inside their body. It is interesting that people working in this industrial agriculture, they get a lot of cancer, they get hepatitis, they get toxic hepatitis, they get a lot of diseases. And it's so logical, and in the same time, it's so stupid. Why shall you use this system when you can use permaculture, which is a very, very clean and very good way to make agriculture? And there are now statistics at big level which shows that the quantity of goods which are collected through permaculture is at least 80% as in the industrial agriculture. So even for wheat, for cereals. So, but in this system, it's clean, it's not toxic. The people will not go to the hospital because here in this system, they get some money. Let's say they get some more money than in permaculture, but then they need to spend the money in hospitals or in pharmacies to treat cancer or many other diseases. And in comparison, in permaculture, you have not only the fruits, the cereals, the nutrients, but you get also these protective substances, these polyphenols, which are very important for the health. So you get both nutrition and health with permaculture. Here you get a very poor nutrition and diseases. So I strongly suggest all of you to go to this permaculture system. Just Google permaculture, and you'll see there are books, there are articles, there are many lectures and conferences about this system. And join them and learn as much as you can and apply the principles of permaculture. I give you just one principle. On a piece of land, you need to have different plants which are growing at different times or giving fruits at different times and flowering at different times, because this will help also the bees to pollinate, and the bees will have food and protection all year round. Okay, now a few words about the scientific studies done on medicinal plants. It's a huge amount of data about this. It is interesting that in the faculties of pharmacy all over the world, there is a department called pharmacognosy. And in this pharmacognosy department, the students in pharmacy, they are studying for 3 months. And there's another one, phytochemistry, another 3 months. So all pharmacists in the world, they know about medicinal plants. Unfortunately, the pharmacists, they became kind of sellers. They are just selling drugs in their pharmacies. So instead of being like pharmacotherapists working together with the doctors and using natural plants, which has very less adverse reactions, they are well adapted to the body. They are just selling drugs, which is not a very nice situation. Here is an example of sage, which is antibacterial. This one is also very powerful antibacterial and also antitumoral. It's the famous green propolis from Brazil, from Baccharis dracunculifolia. And you see here how the bees are collecting these buds. In this case, the bee, just to give you a technical detail, the bees are cutting the leaves, the buds, the thin bud of this shrub, and they are putting these buds as they are on the leg here. So it's not like our other bees, which are in Europe, North America, and South America, are collecting from poplar trees, where they lick the buds. Okay. Many companies specialized on bee products also are using medicinal bee plants, like Medex in Slovenia, our institute here in Bucharest, Pharmanectar in Brazil, Apofarm in Germany, Baloflora in France, and so on and so on. There are more and more companies. Also in Croatia, I heard recently, there are many companies, big companies, which are specialized already in the combination between bee products and medicinal bee plants. Hundreds of books are published and thousands of articles on these topics. Just a few examples here. Are the medicinal plants also bee plants? Yes, most of the medicinal plants, which are useful for the health of living beings, are also bee plants. It's interesting, the bees, they know that these plants are more valuable, so they go more often to these plants as to non-medicinal bee plants. I already showed you this kind of table. Okay, so I'll go quicker on this. It's important to have this list of plants from your own area. So if you live in Kenya or Australia or whatever country you are in, just go again to the botanics specialists, people specialized in botany, and ask them to identify in your area those plants. And with the help of a pharmacognosist, pharmacist, which is specialized medicinal plants, you will get this list of the plants. And it is good to put them in alphabetical order, according to the Latin name. And once you have this list with the medicinal plants, then you need to get the bee plants. And then you'll see, like I made here this table and I put it in my website in epitherapy.com. You see here, these plants are in the same time medicinal and bee plants. And here you see useful parts of these plants, which are taken like buds, resins, essential oils, pollen, sap for honeydew honey. And here is the amount of honey which is collected by the bees from a hectare of this plant, this fir tree in this case. And we need to expand this table with the pharmacological effects of these medicinal plants. This is just for you to have an idea. So go to aptherapy.com, click on medicinal bee plants, and you can download this table. And then you can enrich it with the plants, those plants from your own area. Okay. And then start to plant these plants in your apiary, around your apiary, like as close as possible to your apiary. Of course, there are many other sources of information, books, courses, workshops, internet on this thing. We can use the medicinal plants and their derivatives in almost all kinds of diseases to prevent them or treat them. What are the main characteristics and composition of the medicinal bee plants? About the characteristics, to tell you a few things, and this is important also for apitherapy. The taste is of the medicinal bee plants. They can be bitter, sweet, spicy, salty, astringent, and sour or acid plants. So this kind of taste is, or we can feel. And it is interesting because each of this group of characteristics are useful for certain diseases, against certain diseases. For example, bitter, like coffee. Remember, coffee is bitter, and coffee activates the blood flow. It is helping the fluidity of the blood in the first 1-2 hours. And then this helps the brain to function properly, also the heart to function properly. But if somebody is taking too much coffee, then after about 2 hours, the coffee will have a dehydrating effect, because bitter plants are also a bit diuretic, so they eliminate, help the elimination of the water from the kidneys. So they may have a disadvantage. Sweet is good for the connective tissue, and of course for the carbohydrates, for the metabolism, for the energy source. Spicy is very good for the immune system. Salt is good for the bones. Astringent is good against the tumors. Sour acid plants are very good for the liver, to clean the body, to detox the body too. So we have also plants of all kinds of colors. And by the way, in phytotherapy, there is one specialty, if you want, it's chromotherapy. We chromotherapy with plants. So we can, red is, for example, very good for cardiovascular diseases. Yellow is very good for the digestive diseases, for stomach, pancreas area. White is good for the lungs. And here is dark color is good for the kidneys. And the green is a very good color for the liver. So we can combine these colors also in our Beehive Air Therapy. Maybe we can put also this inside the Beehive house, Beehive Air house paintings or colors like this. The Chinese are saying that when you have around you all these 5 colors, you have a good, very good balance. And also the foods, ideal foods should have all these 5 colors and the 5 tastes. Here is an example with 2 kinds of plants. Plants that are warming up our body, and other plants which are cooling down. For example, here it's thyme, Thymus species. When we take thyme as a herb in our mouth, we feel the heat. It's like chili too, like pepper too. So there are plants which are like spicy. They belong to the category of spicy plants, and they are warming up a lot the body. And this is very good in those diseases where you need more heat internally. So this is a biochemical stimulation of the heat in the body. It's not direct heat, but it's biochemical stimulation. When you take, for example, chili or paprika, like I said here in Europe sometime, the chili has no heat itself, but it has those substances which are spicy, and they start the heating mechanism to the body. Okay, so when you have diseases with coldness, like COVID-19 in the first phase, when the people they are having the chills, then you should recommend them this kind of plants. But when somebody has too much heat in the body, too much inflammation, too much insomnia, agitation, and so on and so on, you need to cool them down. And this is one example here with lavender, which is cooling down the body. And then there are also plants which are humid, and also plants which are dried, are drying the body. For example, the poplar trees, the poplars, They are diuretica. They eliminate the water from the body through the kidneys, so they will dry the body. But also the propolis itself, the beekeepers knows about this. If you take propolis on your hands, or you put even propolis tincture on your hand or skin, you'll notice this kind of drying effect. So propolis has a, if you want, a physical effect of drying, which can be very useful in those diseases where the body has too much humidity. For example, in diabetes, or in case of edema. In diabetes, not all kind of diabetes, not for all patients, but most of the diabetic people, especially the ones which are also obese, they have too much humidity in the body. And then taking propolis will help through this bioenergetical or biophysical mechanism. And other plants are increasing the humidity in the body, like this linden flowers. And if you, I strongly advise all of you who live in temperate climates like Europe to taste these flowers, not just to make a tea, but just to take into your mouth and chew it, and you'll feel the like humidity of this flower. It's kind of like sticky substance, which is like gum substance, if you want, and it is giving you in the mouth a very clear feeling of humidity. So this one is good for those people which are having not enough humidity in the body. So like the smokers, which are very dry. And then also in COVID-19, in the first phase, when it's that dry cough. So dry cough is not good. Getting a plant which is increasing the humidity, including the lungs, when you get it through inhalations or nebulizations, it's a good idea. Now, here is two different classes of flowers, of plants. Plants which are inodorous. They do not have a smell. These are not very interesting for the Beehive Air Therapy. Okay, so, but these plants which are aromatic, they are much, much better. Like basil, it's very good. Now, Beate, please try to find.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you. Okay, so there are several aromatic plants like basil, like sage, like lavender, eucalyptus, citrus plants, and many others which are aromatic. So it is a good idea to speak with a specialist in aromatherapy and okay, sorry.
Sorry, Stefan, I muted you.
No problem, no problem. Now you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So in the medicinal plants, we have these antiviral, antimicrobial, antimycotic, antiparasitary effects. And also in the bee products, we have same kind of biological effects. So it's good idea to combine bee plants, aromatic plants, medicinal plants, and bee products, because you'll have a synergy among all these substances, if you will. Then we have a group of biophysical effects like antioxidation, protection against free radicals and radiations, antithermically, diminish of the body temperature, like in the case of COVID-19 when you have too much fever, protection against excessive coldness or hotness. Okay, so biophysical effects we can get from the medicinal plants on the bee products. And in the case of Beehive Air, we do not have so much antioxidation because we do not have in the Beehive Air polyphenols, because the Beehive Air comes at temperature like 35, 37, maybe 40 degrees Celsius. So polyphenols will go not out in this Beehive Air so much, but we have other effects. Like biochemical effects here, anti-inflammatory, increasing or decreasing of pH. And for example, there are plants which are very sour or fruits like lemons, which are very acidic. They have a low pH and which are very good against bacteria, by the way. Or other effects, biochemical products or plants which are offering enzymes or helps in the production of enzymes, depuratives, antitoxical, etc. Protection of the material physical structure of the human and animal organism. It's another kind of effect, protection. So the medicinal bee plants can protect our physical structure of our body, especially through these groups of substances, polyphenols, minerals, trace elements. Then it's another group of effects, very, very important in apitherapy, in the medicine, generally speaking, is regeneration. Regeneration of the physical structure of the body, of the cells, of the tissues, of the organs. Because if we do not have enough regeneration, non-stop regeneration, we get ill very quickly, or we cannot recover after diseases. And this is done through these kind of substances, which you see here. Then it's another kind of effect, function-related properties. We have medicinal plants which are activating the empty organs, like here you see small intestine, large intestine. Usually they are more empty than the liver, for example, which is full of blood and structure and tissue. So with the medicinal plants, which we can activate very quickly, for example, somebody having constipation or obstipation, they do not go to the toilet often enough. You can give a laxative plant like aloe vera, for example, and then they will go to the toilet. This is what is called a functional effect. Okay, so in order to regenerate an organ or to get to improve the function of the liver, you need a bit more plants and you need more things, including bee products, because these heavy organs, they are not reacting so quickly like the empty organs. And this is known very well in Chinese medicine. They made this differentiation between these organs, and they say that first you start with the medicinal plants to improve the functioning, and then you go to the regeneration of the organs. Okay, then you have another big groups of effects on the apparatus, like group of organs and functions, like cardiovascular, digestive, and so on. Okay, then on the systems, nervous, endocrine, or immunitory system, anti-tumoral effects, and so on. Indications and uses of the medicinal bee plants, they are very similar with the ones for apitherapy, human and veterinary medicine, nutrition, sport medicine, cosmetics, etc. Contraindications, in the case of medicinal plants, we can have some contraindications, not so many like in the chemical drugs from the pharmacies, classical pharmacies from the pharma industry, but we can still have allergies, intolerances, sometimes excessive reactions. Here it's one point here. Sometimes these excessive reactions can be, in fact, a good thing. They are depurative, healing kind of effect, but a good therapist will know how to make the difference. Okay, so posology administration, we'll speak about the contraindications also on Beehive Air Therapy later on during our conference. Posology administration, you can administer this through all the system, orally, externally, intravenous, intraocular, intravaginal, intrarectal, and so on. And preparations, we can make all kinds of preparations and products based on medicinal bee plants, but also on bee products, like tinctures, injectable solutions, capsules, tablets, mixtures with honey, and so on. Is it good to mix bee products with the medicinal bee plants and their extract? Yes, of course, because the medicinal bee plants usually contains higher concentrations in active substances than the bee products. For example, if I need an effect on the kidneys to have a diuretic effect, I can use the medicinal bee plants plus propolis and I'll have a stronger effect. Okay, then another explanation is that the therapeutical effects of the medicinal bee plants can work in synergy with the bee products. So synergy is a very important concept in apitherapy too. Like we use Beehive Air Therapy in synergy with the other healing methods to get a faster healing of the patients. Okay, we use the honey as a vehicle to improve the absorption in the body. Okay, propolis and honey are also excellent protectors. And now very, very quickly, I will show you a few nice photos for our hearts and souls with medicinal bee plants. Very, very nice. So I go pretty quickly here and then we'll stop. I will stop my presentation and we'll go to the next very important presentation. Okay. I'm going pretty quickly, as you see. Maybe some other time I will explain you more details about these photos, but it's not so important about where were made these photos. But the good thing is that we'll have a photo contest in our event here in our conference, and you'll see all these kind of photos and you'll give a vote for them. Okay, this is the last slide. Medicinal bee plants are very, very important for the foods, for the nutrition, and I thank you very much for your attention.